Hi, you're listening to Book Chat with author Vivian E. Moore.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Hello and welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, author Vivian E. Moore. I hope everyone had a great week, and I hope you're having a even better weekend. All right, so before we get started, I just want to make this small disclosure. I have a co-host today, and they may become vocal in the background in just a little bit, so I'm just giving you fair warning before that starts. They were not invited to today's show, but they are still here. So I just want to let you know, if you hear noise in the background today, that's who it is. Okay. So anyway, back to today's show. The title of today's show is Copy That, and the topic is Safeguarding Against Copyright Infringement. Isn't it enough that we spend months, days, hours composing what may become a life's work, only to have some sticky-fingered thief try and steal it right from under your nose? It happens, folks, and more than what you realize. Even in this technological age, something of this magnitude occurs daily. Now, that's something to think about and to consider. Image and text copyright are the two most common types associated with copyright infringement. Even those who protect their work diligently from interlopers have committed the same offense unknowingly when they use images without permission. Now, I'm going to give you an example of that because this is something that I'm guilty of too, and I didn't realize it at the time until I got an email from the site that I had posted something to that informs me that I was using some material, a photo, without permission of the person who owned the rights to it. Okay, so on that note, if you have downloaded or saved an image and later shared it on social media or pinned it on Pinterest, consider yourself guilty as charged too. Okay. All right. So, I mean, it's just that easy, even if not intentional. However, despite the steep penalty of $30,000 and upward for infringement violations, it doesn't stop this from occurring. And you think that it would, but some people just don't care. All right. And no one is safe from predatory actions. And artists across the board have sued due to some form of copyright infringement. So once you consider how easy it is to steal another's work, you should use a proactive approach to theft prevention. Proving the theft in some cases is more complicated than prevention. You have had people who have been in court over the years who have taken one of these interlopers to court and sued them or tried to sue them for copyright infringement. And I mean, it's something that happens, on a daily basis, wherever you are in the world. However, here are a few preventative measures to ensure your work is always protected, okay? So rule number one, never take anything for granted. Although the work bears your name, doesn't mean it's safe from potential violators, even if the United States Copyright Office states that it is protected from the moment of creation. Well, tell that to the number of individuals suing for copyright infringement. I don't know if you're familiar with this or not, but a few years ago, what was the name of that show? It was a series that was on Fox, and it had, gosh, I could see her face, but I cannot think of her name. But anyway, there was some discrepancy about who wrote the screen script for that television drama that came on, and I can't think of the name of it. It'll come back to me soon, and I wish it would, but I can't even think of it without having to search for it. But anyway, the woman who wrote the book initially, or wrote the screenplay initially, stated that she submitted that work to a producer, and that it was turned down. And so years later, it appeared on television as a network series, and so the woman who claimed that her work was stolen by this producer took him to court. So I don't know how that ended, or if she won money or whatever, or if she proved that that it was actually her work, and and that it had been stolen from her. And I think the reason why she said that she was unaware was because at some point in time she went to prison. Because the movie was based on her life, so who better to recognize scenes in this series as something that you had written prior. So anyway, I hope that everything ended well in her favor. I didn't keep up with the story, but I do remember that taking place when that series came out. But anyway, number 2 is to register your work. And for more info, you need to contact the U.S. Copyright Office, and that is at https://www.copyright.gov, okay? And per the U.S. Copyright Office, they explain what copyright is and states that copyright is a form of protection grounded in the U.S. Constitution and granted by law for original works of authorship fixed in a tangible medium of expression. Copyright covers both published and unpublished work. That includes literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic works such as poetry, novels, movies, songs, computer software, and architecture from the moment it is created. Okay, so we covered that base before, and I say again, protect your work. No matter if it is yours, it's yours, and the person who's trying to steal it knows it's yours, but if you had to take them to court, you need a way to prove that it's yours. So the best way to do that is to have your work copywritten, okay? And that takes care of it right there, so you don't have no worries about that, all right? All right, so however, copyrights does not include facts, ideas, systems, or methods of operation, although it may protect the way these things are expressed. And for more information on that also, you need to see Circular 1, Copyright Basics section, what works are protected. That's very important that you do your homework on copyright and, and the things that you want copywritten. The Copyright Office, I think, is or the copyright procedure is one of the best things that could have happened, especially when I think about all the artists, the musical artists back in the day, when they wrote songs, and of course they weren't allowed to sing those songs. They were given to other people, and the rights to that work was taken away from them illegally. But of course, they had no means to fight it at the time. So I wish that that a better understanding of what copyrights mean was explained to them during that time. But it was done purposely to withhold that information from those artists, so they wouldn't know what their rights were. But now the things have become clearer, and we know that the U.S. Copyright Office is there for everyone to protect your work from predators and those who would want to steal your work and claim it for themselves to take credit for something that they didn't do. So this is something that is wonderful. And, and it may save you from having to go to court. But if you do have to go to court due to copyright infringement, you have your work on file, that this is your true work. Your name is on it, and you can prove that it's yours. All right. Number 3 is never submit a manuscript to suspect publishers or producers. It's not uncommon, and many artists have sued to regain the rights to their work after years of battling the fence through legal action, which can be very expensive, very lengthy. So to avoid that, have your work copywritten. All right. Number 4 is watermarking your images. This will protect your work against those tempted to use it without permission. And that happens all the time. It's the example I gave you earlier about, clicking on images that you see on the internet and then sharing them or posting them to sites like Pinterest and things like that, and that those sites get a lot of activity. They get a lot of traction on a daily basis. People are, visiting the site, and the eyes of someone who recognize an image that belongs to them, and also reaching out to, I guess, whoever. Excuse me. I had to take a sip. I was about to go dry. To whoever owns those sites, they reach out to them to let them know, hey, this belongs to me, and they don't have my permission to use it, so I need you to take it down. And then, of course, you get notification through email that they had to remove an image from a site because the person who owned that image protested. Okay, so don't do that. And if you do want to use an image, and you might want to ask for permission. And I'll give you another example of that. I wanted to use a certain image for one of my books. And, of course, the image was everywhere. It was on Pinterest and, and other sites. So what I did was I did a little reverse search. So I posted the image on Google, and it told me who the person was, and told me, that they were a model and the modeling agency that they worked for. So what I did was I reached out to that person and asked if I could buy the image, if they would sell it, or could I use it. And of course they gave me a price that I didn't think was fair. So I declined. And so I didn't use that image, but I did find one, because there are sites that are out there that you can use these images, and they're perfectly legal, because the people or persons who have submitted them to these sites, they don't care if you use them. They just want you to give them the credit for using them. And then there are sites that have a ton of images that you can pay. You can pay for per image. You can pay for them. And, and don't have to worry about being sued for any type of infringement of that person's work. All right. So, and again, I said watermarking your images will protect your work against those tempted to use it without permission. So, you've seen those watermarks. You've seen them on checks and on legal forms and things of that nature. You have to sort of tilt them to see it, so it's embedded within the fiber of those documents, and they're there to protect the who it belongs to from someone trying to copy it and use it for their own means. So watermarking is another way. If you can't have it copywritten, watermarking is another way of securing your work or images. All right. So branding by way of logos associated with your content, which includes websites, blog posts shared across social media platforms. That's another way. You've seen the logos on the different, and I have one as well. Book Chat is like my logo. So if you see it reproduced anywhere else, that it is a reproduction, because that image belongs to me. That logo belongs to me. All right, and no one else. All right. So, and number 5 is branding by way of logos associated with your content, which includes websites, blog post, share it across social media platforms. All right. So, everyone has their own brand. They have their own logos and things of that nature. So make sure you institute those on all of your work before you share them across social media. And number 6, and the last one is cite the information to avoid plagiarism. You may not think about it, but plagiarism is also a form of copyright. When you go out there and you use other people's words or whatever, and don't give them credit for it. So the best way to do that, to give them credit, is for the info used, if you haven't gained it by permission, is to make sure that you cite the information from wherever you got it from. You want to make sure that the person who is reading this knows that this is not your work, that you use this information from this site, and you are you've added that information. Whether it's a book report or whatever it is, you've made sure that that you've attached, like I did for the copyright office at the copyright uscopyright.gov. I made sure that I put that URL there, so you'll know that I'm not plagiarizing their words, but I can send you to the site and you can read what I have posted on my script for today. So I'm giving them credit for what was written. It is in quotes and it's italicized to let you know that this is not original work by me, but I'm using this not by permission. But I didn't obtain permission for using it, but I did make sure that I send you back to where you can find this information, where it came from, and where it originated from, and who it belongs to, okay? Because I don't want to get sued, all right? All right, so every artist deserves respect and credit for all their hard work. So let's respect the rights of all parties by doing our part to ensure and protect from all forms of copyright infringement. All right, folks, so that is our show for today. And before I let you go, I want to make sure that I share these URLs with you. Oops, sorry about that. Empty water bottle hit the floor. That was the noise, okay? All right, so anyway, the first one is to Spreaker, and that is at https://www.spreaker.com/user/author Vivian E. Moore. You can follow me across all social media platforms, which include Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also Pinterest. If you like Pinterest, you can go out there and you can find me, all right? And you can check out my blog site. It is at https://authorvivianemore.blogspot.com, and my website is authorvivianemore.com or authorehshepard.com. All right, so and in case you missed today's live show, you can listen to the recorded episodes on Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, CastBox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, YouTube, SoundCloud, JioSaven, Audible.com, Verbal, Luminary, and any platform where you listen to podcasts on a daily basis or whenever you have the time. All right, so it's everywhere. All right, and tomorrow is the first Sunday. I always get excited about that because it is Communion Sunday, all right? And so by now, most people are back at church in the building, and some, who are unable to go out are still listening to it by means of the internet or however it is being streamed, so you can listen if you're doing it by phone or whatever. But anyway, you want to be safe, okay, because COVID is still here. It is not gone. It's leaving, thank God, but it's not 100% been abolished yet. It may never be, but still, we are hoping and praying that someday we can get back to some form of normalcy. Until that happens, we need to be safe, stay safe, keep those that we love safe, those around us safe, okay? And also, as I always say, how I always end the show weekly, to always let those who you care about the most, let them know today, because tomorrow is not promised. Today may be the only chance you get to say that. So on that note, I love you. I hope you love me back. Until the next time you hear my voice, God bless you and goodbye.
loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.